Welcome, magical ones, to the mysterious feminine archetypes of the witch, where I'm exploring how there's this real lack of initiation into our feminine mystery in today's culture and what that really means for us as secret witches who maybe don't know the power and magic that is contained within these magical, mysterious archetypes. So yeah, there is this kind of real valuing in our culture of logic over the kind of mystery of the feminine. And yeah, this is something that our ancestors, I explained this a bit more in depth in the previous video, which was exploring the maiden. But our ancestors really would have valued these kind of initiations into each various stage of the feminine life cycle, which is completely missing. We often kind of cycle through the feminine life cycle completely unconsciously in today's culture, which values logic over this kind of mysterious energy of the feminine. So that is what I'm shining a light on. Yeah, these are kind of all areas where we have really suppressed and locked away the aspects of the feminine which are so valuable, particularly to witches. So yeah, today we're going to be exploring the lover. Now the lover is kind of, I always embody, as I'm sharing these, I'm embodying the energetic of lover today. So we've got the red dress. It's like a summer. It's the summer of our cycle of life. The lover is kind of just after the maiden, till about age 15, where we're kind of initiated into the next phase of our lives. This is kind of the juicy, pleasurable, like sensual expression of ourselves, the feminine kind of lover aspect. And in this time, it's kind of also that kind of putting into action our creative ideas. So the maiden has had all these beautiful dreams, and she then kind of moves into lover, who's there to birth and express them into the world as her kind of full sensual juicy expression of herself. So the lover is really this kind of radiant, joyful, fully expressed, energetic. As my own soul guide has taught me, the lover is kind of that energy of, as she talks a lot about it being about the energy of the kind of the rose, like that soft, open, relaxed, fully expressed, fully in bloom energy. So yeah, she kind of creates, she dances, she tastes, she lives in her senses. This is quite timely actually, because we're exploring pleasure and desire in Invoke Your Wild Creatrix at the moment, which is all about the element of the lover, that kind of fully expressed, like in your sensual pleasure, in your desire energy is what the lover is all about. So she's the one who really creates a juicy, fulfilling life. She's the one who creates a juicy, fulfilling soul business, this kind of magnetic, radiant energy that draws people in, that magnetizes. So yeah, she's a lot of fun. If you think about the I'm going to read it maybe either at the end, or I'll read it as I kind of move about embodying the lover, maybe in a separate video. But think about Maya Angelou in the poem Still I Rise. This is kind of the very lovery, energetic, that kind of sassiness. So yeah, that is what the lover is all about in her full juicy expression, and that is available for you to embody. It's just that largely when we get to the point of just being initiated into the lover, which is usually around our first bleed. So this is all around exploring the initiations available to us in the various parts of the various blood mysteries. And this kind of initiation into the lover happens at first bleed. We begin to start to embody the lover energy. Now if we have been trapped in the maiden energy and not had that conscious initiation into lover, then it's likely we won't be able to fully embody and express that lover aspect of ourselves. So this is why we're kind of journeying through these different archetypes. So if we think about the witch wound, particularly for secret witches, women who don't know their power and magic, women who have maybe got ingrained into their cells these stories of like not being allowed to be fully expressed as your truth, it's going to have been an initiation that has largely been missed because of this idea that it's just not safe. You know, women were burned at the stake. I always talk about how women were burned at the stake for being themselves. So for a secret witch, this is particularly a pertinent wound. It's something that's cultural, that we're not kind of initiated into our lover. It's not really valued as such in our culture, but particularly for a secret witch, it's going to be something that feels really edgy, to be able to just be fully in her magic, fully in her expression of her soul. So often the secret witch will fear being in this full expression, and that's because historically we were kind of burned at the stake for that, and yet now we are no longer burned at the stake for being in the embodiment of our lover. So this is something that we get to choose into. So yeah, often the secret witch will kind of shut down that kind of summery radiance, or her sensuality, her desire, her pleasures, and there's this kind of idea that it's not safe, that it's kind of not approved of, that we're not in control if we are in this full juicy expression of life, of soul, of who we are. And so often the thing that comes up for a secret witch, how this will kind of manifest if you are not in your lover energy, is there will be this kind of sense of shame over having pleasure, over being in touch with your desires. Yeah, there's often this heavy sense of shame, and I know from my own journey, I really lacked initiation into my lover. I was very much stuck in that kind of maiden needing approval, and it kept me in a relationship that I didn't want. I shared this story in Creative, so I'm not going to go too deeply into it, but ultimately I didn't really want to be married to the person that I was marrying. Because I was just kind of staying in a relationship that felt very safe, rather than being in a relationship where I could be fully expressed as myself. And again, I'm not going to go too much into this, but there was an element of the story that I missed when I was sharing this originally in this group ages ago, which was all around desire. And there was this desire that I had to be with my best friend, who had been my best friend for 13 years. And I completely skipped over that part of the story. There was this kind of real deep desire to be with him, and there was this deep shame also of being with him, of that desire to be with him, of that desire for pleasure. So yeah, and again, the kind of disapproval of the maiden. My mum had said, you know, that she would never speak to me again if I didn't get married, because there'd been a lot of investment in this wedding. And so I actually got married and ignored the call of my lover. So again, I really personally know that there is this kind of real approval shadow, this real shame that can come up as we begin to get in tune with those aspects of the lover. But she is here to lead us back to soul. And so my own initiation was very much that journey. And yeah, without that initiation, we can really get stuck in that shame, in that kind of avoidance of pleasure, avoidance of desires. And it's again something that we're working through in Invoke Your Wild Creatrix this week. So it's really timely, magically timed, actually. And so yeah, I consciously chose eventually to reclaim my lover. And we kind of come to this point at, as I said, a kind of our first initiation into the blood mysteries, at this kind of first bleed. And at that point, we're really offered that choice point as to being able to begin to embody this energetic. It's that natural progression. And yet we kind of, as I said, we kind of shut it down, especially as secret witches. So we often miss that chance to choose into that next kind of phase of our life cycle as the feminine. And yeah, we are going to be exploring this in Feminine Mystery. So I'm going to give you some inquiry because that's always a really powerful way of you being able to see, like, how far is your lover energetic suppressed. So the inquiry that I'm going to give you is, what is your relationship with pleasure and desire? Just notice, witness through your life, how far have you allowed yourself to embody that fully and express those desires, express your sensuality, express your joy into the world. And yeah, that's a really powerful place to begin inquiry. If you wish to deepen into that, then we will be exploring all of the feminine archetypes of the witch in Invoke Your Feminine Mystery, which begins in I think it's the 22nd of June. So I'll be guiding 8 women through this powerful portal of transformation with reclamation of all of the feminine archetypes of the witch, which is, I'm so excited. This is really, really strongly coming through for me, and so deeply aligned with my own journey. These kind of various choice points that we've had throughout our lives that we haven't realized are choice points. So yeah, it's time to reclaim and reinitiate all of these archetypes that are kind of hidden within us, just bursting to want to come out. And particularly the lover is a pertinent one for the witch, because the witch often shuts down that full expression of herself. And the invitation is to soften, open, relax, and express yourself fully. So I'm going to leave it there. I might pop on later and just read that gorgeous poem by Maya Angelou, because I got to find it. But yes, I will leave you there with all the love. Mwah.